Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sit Down and Log Down with me, Joe Emilio. And as always, a guest tonight, I have Eugene Mathews on the show, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. I actually haven't chatted to this guy in quite a long time, so it's going to be a bit of a catch up as well. And we're just going to have a nice, fun, entertaining conversation with you guys. Before I bring him on, though, as always, I have a few things to say. Number one, please share this link. Just share it on social media. Tell people to come join us. Let's have some fun. Let's get interactive. And don't forget that you guys can ask us questions at any time during the interview. And I will pop it up on the screen and we'll discuss it. Also, donations, as always. For each guest, I have a donation box. This is in aid of all the performers that I have on the show. Just because, there's no gigs, there's no stage time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this little box, this little square thing, just scan it with your phone and donate anything you can, anything you want. Donation box will be open for the next 48 hours. So even if you're watching this after the fact and it's not live, it's fine. Just if you enjoyed it, scan, donate. And if you don't want to use your phone to scan, you can also find a link in the description below. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm super excited to bring this guy onto the show. So, with a huge thunderous round of applause, even though we're not going to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the very fashionable, the very wonderful Mr. Eugene Mathews.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
It's eternity, doesn't it?
Oh, it has, man. It has. How are you doing? How are you doing, honestly? Actually, I mean that, because we haven't spoken in such a long time. How are you doing? I haven't, it's been ages.
Let's just say today is a good day, but not every day is a good day in lockdown. I have my days of being really inspired, and then I write, and then I have my days where I just lay. And I know I have things to do. I have meetings to attend to, not attend to, but like a Zoom meeting or whatever, and emails to send. But then I just lay there because, where's my life? Why am I not doing the things that I want to do? It's this emotionally, this lockdown has been really, really difficult for
Yeah.
me because this is the most I've been at home since like high school.
Mm.
So yeah, it's every day gets us closer to level one. That's how I think to keep myself from losing my mind, which I
Yeah.
do at least once. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm good. These interviews that I'm doing with everyone, it's nice to almost every night chat to some old friends and old colleagues and have a nice conversation with someone. And yeah, for the most part, it keeps me busy, which is good. It's good to keep the mind active and stuff. So yeah, I do also. I think earlier this week, actually at the beginning of this week, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I did feel quite down, like really down. It was bad. But yeah, I guess everyone goes through this, and I hope that this channel will alleviate some of the stress for people. When they watch these conversations and they just enjoy a nice, fun conversation. And that's one of the reasons why I do it. Is there anything that you are missing besides stage time during the lockdown?
I miss hugging people. I hate that. I'm supposed to be this mean person. Oh, that's the impression people have of me. But I miss hugging my friends and like going to gigs and seeing the comics and like, hey, how are you doing? And hugging them. And there's this thing that I don't know how it came to this point, but the new comics always want me to hug them because it feels like they are validated. Like I don't know, it's more of a I like you now, so I'll give you a hug. But okay, if that's what it is, if that's what it evolved to, yeah. And driving, oh, I miss driving so much. I
Yes.
drove for the first time on Monday since I don't even like February, and it was like, oh, why am I checking gears? Ugh, this is so much work. Was driving. But then being on the road and seeing the amount of people on the road without the masks, that was a bit of a sensory overload. So It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna do what I need to do and just go back home. I don't trust you people with your non-mask ass having people. Ugh.
Yeah, I went to the shops not too long ago as well, and I saw an old lady without a mask, and I was like, "You're brave." Um, so-
Suicidal. She was ready for the grave.
All right, so let's talk a bit about your stand-up comedy career. I don't know. I can't remember when you and I met. I know it was on the scene way back when, but I actually never got to know how you got started. Like I always like to ask this to all the comedians that are on the show. Please, in whatever detail you want to mention, tell us the journey from when you decided to do stand up to actually the first time on stage. How was it? Stuff like that.
Okay, a good couple of years ago, this is like maybe the early 2000s. I watched a comedy special by Cat Williams,
Mm-hmm.
The Pimp Chronicles Part 1. I watched that at a
That's a good
friend's
one.
place 'cause she had this DVD and she was so excited to show it to me. And I was like, oh, who's Cat Williams? Never heard of him. Watched this thing and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is wow. Like, I want to do that someday, but like, I didn't know there was an underground circuit,
Mm-hmm.
underground comedy circuit here in Cape Town. I did not know. I just thought stand-up comedy that happens in South Africa happened at the big theaters, the Baxters and the Artscapes and whatever, not knowing. So then I went through a couple of job changes and I became a cab driver somewhere along the line. This was before Uber. This is meter cab. So picture me a meter cab driver. Yes, that was me. I was driving that London cab, those LTI London cabs. I was one of those guys. And I quickly discovered that if I make my customer laugh, the customer will give me a bigger tip and they will feel safer in the cab.
Hmm.
So I can drive like a crazy person, but they feel safe because they laugh and they're distracted. So then I just did that and told my customers different stories about my experiences as a cab driver. And believe me, every day there was some other sort of drama going on. Um, until I met this one customer whose name I totally forgot. He encouraged me to give stand up a try. And I was like, still thinking there's no underground circuit. I was like, no, like, how can I do that? That's like Mark Lottering's world. That's not
Mm-hmm.
me. I can't do that on a stage. Wow. He said no, but like there are places where you can do open mic performances and you should at least give it a try. And I was like, oh man, don't be crazy. Then a couple of weeks later, I went to the club and I ran into this friend of mine, Fiona Fury, and I spoke to her about this idea that this guy gave me. And she was like, why don't you do it? I know a couple of people. I know Kurt and Diz. I'll take you to your master comedy club and I'll introduce you to them. And I'm like, what's your master comedy club? I don't know these things. She's like, okay, Monday nights. Monday nights, there's an open mic night in Long Street. Go check it out. So I'm like, it's probably never going to happen. So one Monday evening, I'm at work. I go pick up this regular customer of mine in Houtby. I still don't remember his name. I think his name is Africa, but I'm not sure. And he's on his way to Long Street to Zula Soundbar.
Mm-hmm.
And he invites me along to this open mic, not open mic, but this legit comedy show. I went in, I saw the thing, I experienced live comedy for the first time. And that was it. That was like, wow, I want to do this. I saw Dylan Skews on stage at night. I saw Milo Hot Chocolate. I saw Gino Fernandez. I saw Zinzi. Zinzi, I remind Zinzi of his set that he did all the time. These are people that like I watch them, and this is probably 2 years before I actually got on stage myself. I watched them and I remember more or less the sets. Michael Jackson passed away in that time, so
Okay.
Gino Fernandez said to Michael Jackson, and I remember that set. To this day, I remember that set. I should actually tell him about it, or hopefully he'll see it on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Then after I was done watching that, I was a goner. I was like, wow, I really, really want to give this a try. Spoke to a couple of friends about it. They were like, no, Eugene, you should really do it. See what happens. You never know. And I was like, yeah, but also doubting myself. Gave Fiona a call, told her, like, let's see what happens. Like, okay, let's do this thing. She took me to your Master Comedy Club, introduced me to Diz, who told me I was my contact with a guy by the name of Rustum August. And Rustum was running the most amount of gigs here in Cape Town. Like this, I think he was at 42 gigs a month
Sure.
at one point, and I was like, "There's only 30 days, 31 days in a month. How do you do this?" So he was really supportive about me wanting to give it a try. Because picture the scene, gay stand-up comedian, but a cab driver. Like what? Really? He gave me a chance. November the 10th, 2010. I
Nice.
got in, no, November 15th, 2010. I got on stage for the first time, performed a set that should have been 5 minutes, but it went on to about 8, 9 minutes, and felt amazing. I haven't had an orgasm that good before, or at least before that point. It was, I've been a goner and I haven't looked back since. It's 9 years later and I haven't taken a break. This is the longest that I've been off stage there, this lockdown, and it's the love of my life. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the comedians feel the way you do. You know, it's the love of our lives, and we are all craving the stage. But that is actually a really awesome story. I didn't know that you were a cab driver before. How I gotta ask, because I gotta ask. But before I do, I want to just acknowledge one viewer so far. Well, we have more viewers, but the one viewer that has commented, Titi Marobi, who says, "Good evening, hello, Titi. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell your friends to join us. If you have any questions for Eugene, please don't be shy to ask." And that goes for everyone else that's watching. Okay, so back to you, the cab driving thing. You have to have, because you were saying that you were telling stories about your cab driving experiences. Give us one. Give us like the most outlandish, the craziest thing that's happened to you. Give us one. Come on, please.
Wow. I was a cab driver for about 2.5, 3 years. So the amount of stories that I have is, ooh, goodness. If I had a keyword, then I could, oh, goodness. Just the people that I met were amazing. My colleagues were fantastic. I can brag about something. Let me brag about
All right.
something quickly. There was one evening where this one cab was supposed to go pick somebody up at the airport. This person was given a time to be at the airport, but fell asleep or something. I don't remember. And then somewhere along the line, the call center asked, like, "Where's this guy? He hasn't moved. Like, why isn't he at the airport?" And everybody is using those two-way radios, and we were like, "What's going on? We're easy now. We're all trying to find the guy. We're trying to find the guy, and can't find the guy. He fell asleep." I drove from Greenpoint BP to the airport in 8 minutes in a Daihatsu.
Wow. And that's
I drove that car. It's a Daihatsu material. It's a 1.5 liter automatic car. I drove to that airport very, very fast. I got there and I picked the customer up. I was standing there at the point where, at the arrival section, with my little board to say his name and everything. Very flustered, heart still beating very, very fast, pretending that I didn't just clock that car to get there.
yeah.
Could have died that night, but yeah, that's what I did.
Do you
And
have
I had
like
to.
do you have like any like moments or stories about like maybe the most insane or the most like awkward client that you or drive that you did maybe with someone?
The thing is, after I started doing stand-up comedy, I started putting myself in weird situations just so that I would have something new to talk about on stage. Next time I would go on stage, so like the more weird the customer would be, the more strange, the more outlandish, the better. You know how many people change their clothing in a cab? You know the amount of boobs I've seen while at work. It's I'm like, of all the people to see this, it's me. Wow, thanks.
But
Oh, like,
would are those like the young girls that want to like sneak off to the club or something and they wear something?
oh, okay. They
Huh?
weren't only
Oh, okay.
ugh, I mean,
Have you ever had like a difficult client?
many, many, many. But again, my mission was to make them laugh. So somehow I would throw things, or I would just get out of my cab. I don't need this, and then drive off. I was just like, 'cause, again, after I started doing comedy, I the like being a cab driver just wasn't appealing to me anymore. So I was just like I was half-assing it. I was just like, get out of my cab, I don't need this. And then I would go do the next thing. And I was like, eventually I wasn't really making money because I would park the cab and then go with the comedian to Kyle's River to go do a gig quickly and then come back to Arms and go on driving. Why would I do that? Why did I like it? I took so many chances. I was so stupid. But this is how addictive being a comedian is.
Yeah.
And you also, I suffer. Okay, at the time I suffered from huge FOMO, that fear of missing out. So if there is a gig and I'm not there, I should have been there. So then during working hours, I would park the cab and then I would walk into what was that place's name in Woodstock? Don
River.
Pedro's or something. I think it was called Don Pedro's, and on a Thursday night they would do comedy there. I'd park the cab, I'd drive out of town, park the cab, go watch a show, meet people, talk, maybe have a couple of drinks, which I wasn't supposed to do as a cab driver, but it was a different time altogether. Uh, ugh.
Well, we have a question here from Titi who says, Eugene, are you a full time comedian now, or pushing something else on the side as well?
I was a full-time comedian at one stage. When we met, I was a full-time comedian, but then somewhere along the line, I had to do more with my time because it was sleep all day, be on stage at night, be on stage at night, be on stage at night, sometimes two gigs in a night, which is a great way. Like at the time, we could do it, but
Yeah.
we somehow got less shows, less gigs running in the city somewhere along the line, and then I couldn't sustain it. So I'm a bartender as well, and I run a car maintenance business called Genetenance, which a word that people can't seem to pronounce because I've got genetenance and everything. Yeah, I'm basically the guy in the middle of a person who owns the car and the mechanic or the dealer. So I will rock up at the house at 6 o'clock, drop you at work, and then take your car in for the service or have the brakes repaired or whatever.
Okay.
So I do that and my comedy and a lot of MC work. I have my other things that I keep myself entertained with that I can't talk about right now, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah.
That's cool.
I like to say that the money that I make from bartending is for the house and the comedy money is mine.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. Um, Speaking of that, what was you called? What's your thing called again? Gina, what?
Gina tenants, like maintenance, but
Gina
Gina
tenants.
tenants.
Okay. Um, I've 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 never really asked you this, but seeing as we're on the show, I might as well. Um, I've heard you say or speak of Gina. Like I've seen your posts on Facebook and stuff like that, and stuff. Uh, who is that?
Oh goodness. A couple of years ago, let's say a couple of years ago, I wasn't as confident as I am right now on stage. Eugene wasn't very confident. So if I would get to a gig and I'm so terrified of the stage, I would be so in my head about it to the point where this other personality gets unleashed. And I just gave this personality a name, Gina. Like Beyonce has Sasha
Uh,
Fierce, I have Gina. And sometimes, like nowadays, Gina really comes out, but when Gina gets on stage and performs, it's something to behold. Um, yeah, it's just like an alter ego. It's still me, but a bigger version of me, a
and that makes sense.
bigger,
Yeah,
more player version of me.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Okay, now I know. I didn't know. And Titi said, "Jack of all trades." Nice. She gave you a bit of an applause. Um, um, okay, so you also have a show with Chantel Jack, who I had on the show last night. Um, Tell us about that show because I think there's also does Gina make an appearance in that show?
Chantel has a nickname, Jax, and my nickname is Gina. So to get when we do our two-hander, it's Jax and Gina.
I see.
A
Okay.
couple of years ago, actually, I'm looking at the poster right now. It was 2017. The Cape Town was the last Cape Town Fringe Festival that we had in Cape Town. You were part of that,
Yep.
weren't you?
Yep.
You
I
had
was
your
there.
show. So I applied, not knowing what's going to come of it, and then they said, "Yeah, why not have a show? Yes, yes, 6 dates. Let's do this thing."
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't have a one-man show. I never wrote a one-man show or anything. So I made contact with Chantal Jack's Venter, or Jax, Chantal Jack. She got rid of the Venter. She's like Madonna now, but with a second name. Um, I made contact with her and I told her, listen, yeah, I got this opportunity at the Cape Town Fringe Festival. Do you want to do a two-hand with me? And she was, yes. She grabbed the opportunity and we did our 6 nights.
Nice.
And from there, we just keep that energy going. We have a two-man show. We run many gigs together. We perform on many stages. We share many stages. This year, the two of us together, we hosted Cape Town Pride, which is something that I've been wanting to do forever. And we did it this year. So that
Nice.
is Jack.
Awesome. What's that like? What's that like to MC the Pride Festival?
Look, I've done a lot of biker rallies. I've performed at a good couple of biker events. So I'm used to the big outside crowd thing. It's lovely. It's a great energy. It's fantastic. You're keeping your crowd hype and everything. But doing Pride it was emotional. It was
Yeah.
really emotional to see that look at all my sisters and my brothers and my gender non-conforming individuals in this crowd together. Such a cosmopolitan crowd, all races, Asians and black colored, gays, straight, trans, the whole LGBTQ alphabet. Everybody was in that crowd. It was absolutely fantastic. The weather, it was hot as hell, but the people came to party and we started at about 1 o'clock and we got off stage at 9 o'clock the night. And so there's like 8 hours of emceeing this concert basically, and it was a beautiful thing. I hope I get to the opportunity to do it again, and especially with Chantal because we already have a working relationship with each other. We trust
Yes.
each other and we're comfortable with each other, and we can practically finish each other's sentences. We have this running gag where we do what's that chung chang cha? What do you call it? Rock
Rock
paper
paper
scissors.
scissors. Yeah.
And if we do rock, paper, scissors for the first maybe 8, 9 times, we're always throwing the same thing. And you would think that Chantal, she's going to throw scissors a lot. No, she actually does do the other ones too. She does do the those paper occasionally, but then I throw paper at the same time. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm so happy it happened before lockdown. Otherwise, it would have like not happened.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think it's also pretty cool because obviously because of the, she's a lesbian, you're gay. I think that combination also helps with the chemistry that you guys have because it's something different,
Oh,
isn't it?
we're supposed to hate each other. We're
Yeah,
supposed to really not like each other, but she's become one of my best friends.
yeah.
Somehow we just, I think, I, oh, this is gonna sound horrible, but I don't know if we would get along as well as we do if we never had comedy in common.
You think so?
Yeah, like when we do talk about our lives in general and things like that, but comedy takes up a lot of like 75% of our conversation is comedy. Okay, it's getting less, and especially in these days, it's none. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I've had to open my mind up to her, and she's had to open her mind up to me. So oh, I don't know. I really can't answer that
Yeah,
accurately, but I think it would have been more of a struggle for us if we never had comedy in common.
yeah.
I
Here,
and look, I met her the night I met her at a show that you did actually. It was that comedy competition where she performed for the very first time and she got the golden ticket through.
yes,
And
that's right.
I walked in there while her set was going on and she dropped this punchline and I don't remember what it is right now. I remember it for the longest time. And I turned and I looked at her and I mouthed to her, "You are here." Like
Yeah,
I was so excited. I'm like, look at this woman.
yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's awesome, man. I just want to address the Storm Legacy is here, fellow aspiring comedian. Good evening, Joe and Eugene. I trust you're all well. We are. Thank you, Storm, for joining in and listening and watching. He has a question. Eugene, do you have a favorite moment of the Salon on Bush Radio? Or was every week a different favorite experience? Wow. Storm's a fan.
Wow. Um, there
First,
are so
first, before you answer
so
that, just explain for those who don't know what the salon and the was.
the salon is an LGBTQ. There's so many letters now. It's LGBTQQ. I actually wrote it down on my notepad. Just give me a second. I will tell you.
You had to
I,
write it down.
I was having a meeting with Roche now the other day, so I wrote it down. Okay. LGBTQQIAAP. And then they must still add another A and a D.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Please, please, please. Okay, Storm. I'm sorry,
We
but
are
I'm sorry, Storm, but I have to know, please. What does each letter stand for, if you don't mind me asking?
This is what I have so far. Lesbian. Wait, don't distract me. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. We can actually, yeah. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, intersex, ally, asexual, pansexual. And the other A and D that must be added is autosexual and demisexual.
What is autosexual and demisexual?
Autosexual is if you are sexually attracted to yourself.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And the other one, demi.
I didn't know either. It's a thing. It's a thing.
And the other
I
one?
tried not to judge, but it's so hard. Ooh.
And the demisexual, what's
Yeah.
that?
A demisexual person is attracted to the emotional connection they have with the next person.
Isn't that just an attraction?
It goes much deeper, and I need to do a lot more research, but it was
Okay.
explained like that. And I was like, okay, so that isn't that pansexual? They're like, no, demisexual is emotionally based, and pansexual. I'm like, that sounds the same to me. But basically, I still need to do more research about.
Well, I will say this.
Right, the salon, the salon.
Wait, hold on. This conversation has triggered the comments because we have Titi who's laughing about it, but also saying, "No ways, lol. Please explain." And then Storm is also like, "Don't worry about the question. I also have to know. No worries." So the people also wanted to know the different uh, definition, not definition. Sorry, what the letters stood for and stuff. I did not even know that they had added. Like I knew. Last thing I heard was LGBTQ. That's what I knew. I didn't know that there was QQ and all. What is that one with the question? You said something about questioning.
Questioning.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Question. This person is questioning. They haven't fully realized what their sexuality is, so they are questioning. And I'm like, but isn't that by curious?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
there's now a difference between questioning and by curious. And I'm like, this is so much work. Why is this so much? I say LGBTQ, and then I stop at Q because the Q it falls in. It's everybody else. Okay, Q. But it's just getting longer and longer. I saw recently that there's another A added to it, and that is for ally. And I'm like, but ally wouldn't that fall under like a heterosexual person, somebody that's not in the LGBTQ acronym? No, they are included as well. And I'm like, so then why don't we just be people then? You are basically making this whole thing null and void. Like, I don't know. But at
Oh
the same
man.
time, the more I do research, the more I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah. So it's basically ask questions, do research, and then accept because we are inclusive. Or at least we try as hard as we can to be inclusive.
Yo, I don't know. I think we're all just people, man. Like that's. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm against any of this. I'm just saying like we're all people. We're all humans. That's I don't know. That's my opinion. So we have here Titi who says, "Just learned new things. Wow, too many labels, guys. Yo." Um, and Titi also asks,
Anyway, the people, they deserve their spot at the table. And if it takes a label to have the spot, then so be it.
"Yeah." Titi also says, "What's asexual then?" Versus questioning.
As-
Sorry.
Asexual would be somebody who is not sexually attracted to people.
Does that mean they're
I'm
attracted
not,
to like other things or just not people?
no, they have no sexual attraction to other people or things.
Yeah, I've actually met one or two people that are like that. They've told me like, yeah, that's there you go. Um, sorry, man, that really got the comments going. Okay, cool. Back to the salon. Sorry.
The salon. The salon is okay. The salon was a radio show that myself and my good friend Roshak Kester used to host. It was an LGBTQ Q,
Shame.
a it was a radio show for the LGBTQ plus community. Um, I was a co-presenter and producer on that show for about 2.5 years.
Yes.
And what a learning experience it was. I walked into that show ignorant. Oh, I thought I was progressive and I knew things, but that show showed me, Eugene, you know nothing. So, so many highlights. Many of which I can't get to right now. But yeah, like every week I learned I learned so much from that show. It's managed to make me more tolerant to not only people in the LGBTQ community, but to people in general.
Mm.
I've come to realize that no matter how down I may feel about my life. Because I would walk. Maybe I had a bad gig the night before, and then I'm one of those people who take it really personally if I don't have a good time on stage, and then I'm all in the fetal position and I drink too much. Sometimes while in the fetal position, then I go to on a Wednesday night I would go to the radio station and go do my show. And then I realized that, oh, your problems ain't shit. Look at this that you're dealing with. I remember there was a guy named Gino. He was physically assaulted by somebody who lived in the neighborhood, and the way the SAPS let him down was so heartbreaking. And wow, we shed some tears about this thing. It's a whole long story. I'm not going to get into it, but this guy who was just living his life, just going about things normally, got beaten savagely, like he was really hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and he had no resources to get justice. The police wasn't interested in helping him. I'm like, wow, this is what you went through, and I wanna I wanna go bury myself in a dark room because I didn't make four people laugh last night. Really, Eugene? Really grow up.
Mm.
Grow up.
Yeah, it gave you insight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Okay, so is there no, like, going back to Storm's question? Is there no, like, favorite moment, or is that the favorite moment?
you know, the show won an award in the like
Oh wow.
in the LGBTQ community. In the LGBTQ community, we have the EVH Pink Awards, right?
Hmm.
So one year the radio show got nominated, and we were like, okay, cool. We got nominated for the media award. Rasha and I went through to go check out this EVH Awards. And mind you, maybe the year before that, I won the award for Entertainer of the Year.
Nice.
So I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to win this. Don't be silly. And then there we are at the awards, and then the winner of the media award at the EVH Pink Awards is the Salon.
Yep.
And we were like, okay. And then we went up, and then most people never got there because we didn't have. Most people never had time, so they didn't really bother much with acceptance speeches. Both Rosha and I had 10 minutes acceptance speeches each because it was so overwhelming. So
Yeah.
that's a really great moment to be
Congratulations.
that
Yeah.
confirmed. Oh, thanks. It happened like in 2016, but okay, thank you.
Doesn't matter, man. It's a big deal. Whether you won it in 2016 or now, it's a big deal. You should feel proud about that.
Oh, I
And
thought about it.
so,
And
congratulations is
we
definitely in order.
we actually reboot. Shouldn't be touching my face on screen, but anyway, we actually rebooted the show a couple of weeks ago because both of us, our lives went in different directions and whatever. So we rebooted the show. We are doing the show now on Facebook.
Nice.
So we converted it into the salon on live. We have a online. We do a Zoom meeting because she's in Pretoria now and I'm in Cape Town. So we have one video out, season one, episode one. And then from this point, we're going to have guests on and we're going to talk and have fun and delve further into LGBTQIAAAP.
All right, well, there you go, guys. Do me a favor. Can you send me a link after we're done here? Can you send me a link to uh, whatever page, Facebook page you have that on? Like, I don't know if there's a salon Facebook page. If there is, then send me that link, and then I'll put it at the bottom of the description of this video, so when people watch, they can go and check out the content. Um,
Oh, that's my pleasure. Yeah, I'll WhatsApp you.
Fantastic. So there you go, guys. That's coming. Storm, if you're a fan of the salon, there you go. It's rebooted. It's alive, and we're gonna see more of. Are you Eugene Mathews or Gina on that show? Sorry, I forget.
Jane, I'm still Eugene. Jane
Okay.
is just a personality.
Okay. All right. So I always like to play a game on the show, and seeing as we have a few viewers now, I really like to play it. So, for those of you that are watching, this is something that you guys can also get involved in, and don't be shy. So we're gonna play a game I like to call the interrogation game, which is I'm gonna explain what that is right now, and it's basically a game where Eugene and I will interrogate each other. We've prepared three statements about ourselves, and when I, for example, am about to, or sorry, when I am interrogating Eugene, I need to find out which of those three statements about him are false or not true, and he needs to make sure that I don't guess the right one. I don't guess the one that is false, if that makes sense. So, for example, do you want to go first on the interrogation or should I?
Whatever works for you, you're the host.
All right, I'll go first, which means I'll interrogate your statements. So I'll pop them up very quickly. We each have 2.5 minutes to interrogate each other. So when I go first, I have 2.5 minutes to ask Eugene questions. So here are his statements. I'm going to read them out and then I'll start the timer. Statement one is I have never had a girlfriend. Statement two is I can't cook. And statement three, I run at least thrice a week. All right, so now I have to ask questions and find out which one is the lie. My 2.5 minutes begins now. And remember, you guys can also try and guess in the comments. Let me know which number you think is the false or untrue one. Okay, 2.5 minutes starts now. All right. Have you never tried to cook in your life?
Oh, I've dabbled, oil, little onions and things, and then you take it from there.
Okay. So what was the last thing you tried to cook?
The last thing I did was spaghetti bolognese. Yeah, that's the last thing I cooked.
When was that?
2012.
All right. You run 3 times a week. You obviously, but do you run? Do you still run now in the lockdown?
Well, we got to level 4, so I allow myself a little run up the road and run back.
Mm-hmm. Is that still 3 times a week? Or are you doing it like every day?
Well, no, I've been a bit lazy. I need to get back into the rhythm of doing that thing.
And when you were before lockdown, obviously you were doing it 3 times a week. What time would you do it in the evening, morning?
Afternoon before I take my bath. Because we are night owls, I would wake up and then obviously brush my teeth and do breakfast and then go for a little joggy and then obviously put the leash on the dog and go for a run and then come back.
All right, 60 seconds left. I heard a dog earlier, so I think you might be telling the truth on that one. Never had a girlfriend. I
I
don't.
mean, have you seen me?
Yeah, but I don't know.
You
I mean,
know,
like I've heard of.
the odd
No, no, no. I've heard
one.
of homosexual people who have had their opposite sex relationships before in their past. They just didn't know. I
It's
used.
me.
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
am I supposed to help you or not help you?
You're
I'm
supposed to not help
confused.
me.
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever had one or not. It's a hard one to say. I would say I'm keen to think that that is true. I can't cook. Do you live alone? I have 10 seconds left.
My mom and I live together. I didn't want to say that on international YouTube, but yeah, I live with my mom.
It's okay. Okay, so my time's up. People in the comments are saying they think number two is the lie, and they think number three is the lie. Okay, so it's between two and three, which is you can't cook, and I run 3 times a week. I don't know, guys. Eugene is quite a slim person. Like he looks like he would run. Like it's not unconceivable. I'm gonna go with two. I'm gonna go with two. I think two is the lie.
I can't cook. I'm terrible at cooking. That's why the last time I cooked was in 2012. I am so useless. Like the the gay community can't understand that about me. Why can't you cook? That's like we're gonna take your license away from you because you can't cook. What's wrong with you? You're never gonna get a man if you can't cook. And I'm like, I guess I'm get a man then. Wow.
So which one is the lie now?
I don't run, imagine. Heavy I am go for a run.
Oh
No.
man, I'm sorry, Titsy. I should have gone with your suggestion. She thought number three as well. I'm sorry. I should listen to my audience. I should, because some of them they know. Okay, so now that you understand the concept, you're gonna interrogate me, and I'm gonna read the statements out to you, and then when you have them in your mind, I'll start the timer. All right, so. My first statement is the first time I got wasted was in South Africa. The first time I got wasted was in South Africa. That's the first statement. Second statement, I once commentated for XWE Wrestling. I once commentated for XWE Wrestling. And number three, I won a tournament in dodgeball in South Africa. I won a tournament in dodgeball in South Africa. Do you have all the statements in your mind? Do you want me to
I
read?
got all the statements. I'd say one is the false.
You're just gonna. I haven't even started the time. You're not even gonna ask
Know you.
questions.
I know you. I know you.
What?
And I was so jealous that you got to commentate the wrestling match. So I know that you are Texican, Mr. Texas, and there's no way you were sober in Texas. So that is the fake one.
Are you sure? You don't want to ask any questions. You're just gonna.
I'm not even going to interrogate you. I know you, Mr. Emilio. I know you. No way
Are you sure?
you when last were you in Texas? You've been in South Africa like forever.
No, I have. It's not true. That's why I'm
Well, it
asking.
feels like I feel like I've known you for years.
You've
I
known
met
me.
you at your how many years ago was that?
True, but I didn't move from Texas to South Africa. I moved Texas, Egypt, South Africa.
Oh, that changes things. Or maybe you were a child drinker. Maybe you drank as a child. We don't know what happens in Texas. What happens in Texas stays in apparently goes to Egypt and then comes to South Africa afterwards.
Well, yeah,
I
you have a
stand by
minute and
what I
15
say.
seconds to ask.
I stand by what I say. Because I know you have commentated and you were big on the dodgeball circuit, which is a thing. You made that a thing. You made that a thing.
I did. I did.
So
Okay. All right. Well, I'll stop the timer. You have 55 seconds, but if you're confident, here we go.
I
I will read out some of the comments. Storm thinks that agrees with you. Thinks that number one is the lie, and so does Titsy. Okay. So they. Wow. Everyone, what you guys? Wow. Okay.
look, look,
um. Yeah, I'll address that storm in just a moment. Okay, so the first time, sorry, the lie is actually number three. I won a tournament in dodgeball in SA. I never won a tournament. I was commentating for them, and I did play the game, but I never was part of a team, or I never was part of a tournament where I took part and I won. So that's the lie. Now I do have to say something on the number one. First time I got wasted was in SA. Um, this is cheating. I remember the dad story. Okay, so a few episodes ago, I said to Stuart Taylor that I had stolen alcohol from my father's um, liquor cabinet in Egypt. Now I can't remember if I said that I got drunk or wasted when I stole that, but I never got drunk or I never got wasted when I stole that bottle because I stole that bottle for me and my
take
friends, and I was lying to Stuart to try and get him off the scent of that. So that explains that. I never got wasted before I came to South Africa. That is true. I never got wasted before I came to. It's very hard to drink in Egypt. It's extremely hard to drink in Egypt. Um, so yeah.
So you do any toddler drinking in Texas?
No, I only
Um,
the first time I got wasted was in South Africa. That's
Good job, South Africa. Wow.
I was 19, I think, or 18. I can't remember. I came when I was 18, and I think about, yeah, somewhere there. 18, 19 was the first time I ever got drunk, or wasted. Sorry.
So it took you about a year, less than a year, to get you drunk here in South Africa. Ugh, the people disappoint.
I never actually thought about it that way. I don't
It's
know.
like
I
you got
was.
off the plane and it took you to the bar at the airport. Come, son, yeah, have a couple of tequilas. What's tequila? Just it's delicious. Try, give it a try.
I just want to read this one out. Tizzy says, "Ah, I always get yours wrong." She's talking about me. Like riding a camel to the shops. Thought that was true because you lived in Egypt. Yeah, that was a funny one. Thank you, Tizzy, for watching and tuning in. Yeah, so look, we're approaching the end. So I'm gonna ask you a question that I always ask all the performers, and it's usually quite an interesting one. So I always ask these guys this because you've like you said, you've been doing comedy for 9 years. You've experienced a lot in your comedy career. There must be an interesting story to this question, which is, do you have the most embarrassing experience at a gig? Whether it was one you organized, when you were part of the lineup, and yes, usually our minds go to, oh, I died so hard at this, but I'm talking like a really embarrassing, like, thing that happened. Tell us the story.
Do you know what a death drop is?
A death drop?
Yeah.
No.
It's basically a move where you like drag queens and the voguing culture, those people just do a death drop where you just fall to the ground. Bam, you fall to the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you like a clip of what a death drop looks like. So one day I'm hosting a gig at West End. It was West End. So I decide in this joke I'm gonna do a death drop. I don't know why I was doing a set. I'm not supposed to do any comedy at this thing. I'm just supposed to host. It's a band and me hosting the band. And then yeah, I do a death drop and I knock my head against the monitor speaker on the ground. And then I played off like nothing happened, but everybody in that place heard the thump, the thump. Still, I'm playing like, this is, I'm cool. We go on. And then I could feel how my hair was starting to soak because, yeah, I am bleeding. So then I put my hand here and then I see the blood in there. Ooh, gone. Eugene was gone. Gone. Another death drop. Not intentional. So, yeah, that was, I've never ever did a death drop on that stage ever again. I've done it, but not on that stage. I look for monitors now.
Did you have to get stitches?
Maybe I should have. I just had a plaster. I didn't want them to shave my hair off. That time I was still wearing my hair straight. And, to grow straight hair, or for me to grow a straight hair is a it takes a while. There's a technique to it and patience. So I should have gotten stitches.
Oh man, when was this in your comedy, like early days, middle, what of your comedy career?
This could have been maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, another. It was a corporate or biker event or just a normal gig.
I was A friend of mine is the lead singer of a band, and he asked me to be the
MC.
the see the host type of thing, and I'm greedy for any stage. So there I was, all in white. I remember I was wearing
Oh no.
all white, beautiful.
Wow. That's shame, man.
White, beautiful.
Do you telling that story actually popped up another story that I shared with Nelson because it's actually I'm sure you'll remember. Do you remember that gig? This is way back now. We're talking like maybe 5, 6 years ago. Fuzzbox. Do you remember Fuzzbox?
I will never forget that night. Nelson told a joke that sent the man to hospital. I will never forget it. That poster is
Oh wow! Hey, look at that! Wow, you actually kept
that
it.
not the poster.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
poster.
the poster. Yeah. Wow, thank you. Wow,
The
that's
poster.
amazing. Oh my word, what a blast from the past. Yeah, no, that
Look
was
at that. After this interview.
this that show. For those of you who haven't watched the Nelson interview yet, we did discuss it briefly. You were on the lineup. You were on the lineup with that one. I can't remember. You were.
That's why I have the post. I wouldn't have the post if I wasn't on the lineup.
um, were you before or after? Because I can't remember. All I remember from that show is that moment. But were you? Where were you on the lineup?
I was the host.
Okay, walk me through what you were thinking when when we had to call the ambulance.
So it was a rough gig. It was a whole lot of bikers who didn't understand comedy, and they used to sing this two-man band every Saturday at the Fuzz Box. And then, yeah, we rocked up and we did a show in between all the instruments. A whole lot of people heckling us. It was rough.
It
It's
was rough.
rough. But somewhere along the line, they got the fact that they understood that, hey, we must listen to them and then we will laugh at their jokes. This is actually entertaining. Great. So then eventually I bring Nelson onto stage, welcome to stage Nelson, and Nelson starts his set. And Nelson is actually having a really good time. I remember him having a good time that night. And then we just heard some guy heckled him or something. I'm not sure, heckled him or something, or said something and went to the bathroom. And then he slipped and he fell forward and he knocked his, I think it's his jaw or his topper of teeth or something like that, against a basement. Oh, one of those porcelain basements. And we thought, oh, you stupid drunkie, what you doing? But it turns out that this guy was like really, really hurt and the blood was gushing. And when I heard blood, I was like, I'm staying right here. We're staying right here. I'm not in the mood for fainting on top of a man who is basically concussed. And then a couple of minutes later, the ambulance rocked up and they had to stretcher him out. And then Nelson just had to go on with his set. Like nothing happened. And we, all the comics were at one table and we were like, acknowledge what happened, acknowledge.
Yes.
And then he wanted to go on with his set. And everybody was like, wow, did you really do it? Really? And when he started acknowledging what happened, and then the crowd started, okay, here we go. We on your side again.
Yes. Yes.
It was very, very odd. Oh my God. I think call it still had to headline.
Yes.
But I mean you can't get a trauma just happened now and now welcome to the stage, your headline act. It was so we were looking when we got in the car. We got so drunk that night. It's like I think they made open bar for us because we soldiered through. Was that like the only was that the only gig that you did there? Or did you do another show
Yes,
there?
it was the only gig because shortly after that, we were supposed to do it monthly, and then 2 weeks afterwards, a tree fell on the clubhouse, and they just never. When they reopened, it took a while for them to. They renovated, and then they did I don't know what and what and what. And by the time, I don't know, they were operational. Going, they never contacted me again. So yeah, it was the only gig that we did there. But the tree really did fall on the clubhouse because they sent me a picture of the tree. in the clubhouse. It was crazy. Yeah.
The universe did not want comedy to happen there. We will trip your audience members. We will, oh, okay, is that not enough to stop the show? Fine, fine. Mother Nature, take it away.
That's so true. Oh man.
I fell on that place.
All right. Well, it's been an hour, and it has been super fun chatting to you, Eugene, and catching up. Usually, what I do at the end of my show is I allow you the guest to just give your final words, whatever it is. If you want to say thank you, follow me, motivational, whatever you want to say, just you're welcome to say so, and then you can stay on the line, and I'll chat to you on Skype once I'm off. Or if you have to go, you can just hang up. It's not a problem. So, yeah, if you have anything to say to the audience, here's your chance.
Okay, guys, we're living in some really, oh, these times are weird. It is weird. And our artists are suffering so much. So wherever you can help him out, even if it's a matter of asking him, how are you? It means the world. It really does. So thank you for the support. Thank you for the support you're going to give us when lockdown is over. Thank you so much for that. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And well, my name is Eugene Mathews with one T, Mathews, not Matthews, Mathews, Eugene Mathews. Just do a search, you'll find me. The salon is the Salon Online Facebook page. That's where we are posting everything right now. We'll get into to YouTube eventually. Eventually, yeah. Thank you, and please support the show that this man is doing. He's doing amazing work.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Eugene Mathews. So good to finally catch up with such a great, uh, humble, and sweet soul. He really does have a nice soul. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to quickly tell you to everybody that's tuned in, to everybody, I see some of you like the video. Thank you so much. Don't forget to press the like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel. I'm interviewing a whole lot more comedians in the future. And thank you to Storm and Titi for commenting. And thank you guys for watching. I just want to quickly tell you guys that tomorrow is not going to be the normal interview that I normally have. We're doing a roast. That's right. We did a roast last week, Friday. It was very successful. People wanted more. And so we're doing another one. I think for the foreseeable future, every Friday will be a roast. So tomorrow we have Oba King roasting Yazid and me. So basically, we roast each other. And then you guys get to also take part in the roast. That's right. If you're tuned in, you can swear at me, you can make fun of me and the other guys on the panel. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Titi says, thanks, Eugene. This was informative and entertaining. Thanks, Joe. You're welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends, subscribe, and like the video. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 for the roast. That's going to be very fun and very exciting. I'm very excited to see these guys. We're going to roast each other and just have a lot of fun. We always roast the ones we love. So thanks again for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'll see you at the next one. Good night.